Blackhawks fall 3-1 in Colorado to the Avalanche. They fall to 22, 28, and 9 on the season, but there are actually quite a few positives, more so than negatives, I would say, in this game. Welcome back to the Blackhawks Conversation. If you're new here, I do a post-game show, an in-depth analysis post-game show after every single Chicago Blackhawks game. And I'm also live right here on YouTube for every single Chicago Blackhawks game. Hell of a live stream tonight. Thank you to everybody that showed up. A lot of new faces tonight. It was a lot of fun. I'll be live again tomorrow for the Utah game, but let's get into this one. Coming into tonight, a couple changes. Korchinski and Doc were in, and Renzel and Slaggert were out. The Doc in for Slaggert is just the typical, rotation, trying to get guys in. Um, Korchinski, though, it came out before the game. He didn't really earn his spot. Renzel was sick. He has an illness. Hopefully, it's not another bug going around. Korchinski was in for that reason. I thought maybe he earned it, but it seems like he was just in because Renzel couldn't go. Night started. Something I kept an eye on going into this game was one, I wanted to watch Korchinski and I have a bit of a ramble about that. And two, Andre Burakovsky, as pointed out by the guys at CHGO before the game, he had one assist in his last 14 games. Absolutely unacceptable for someone who has power play time and is absolutely glued to the first line with Connor Bedard. Unacceptable. So, like I said, the Hawks fall 3-1, and this was a game where I thought the Hawks got better each period as the game went on. Um, no period was really abysmal like we've seen in the past. They were heavily outshot for most of this game. Well, they were really heavily outshot in the first period. They got better in the second and better in the third. As I said, they offensively they got kind of better as the game went on in terms of consistency and chances. But they were up 1-0 for a large majority of this game up until the last minute in the second period. Um, they were up 1-0, and it came on a power play goal. They finally got a power play goal. It was Connor Bedard from Bertuzzi and Teravainen. It was a great little breakout pass by Teravainen. Bertuzzi with a nice cross seam, and Bedard with just an absolutely lethal shot over the shoulder of Blackwood. It reminded me of the power play goal we saw in Detroit earlier in the year. But Connor Bedard had a great night, and he has 2 goals in his past 2 games, since returning from the break, and I called it, as the season was starting up again after the Olympics. Post-Olympic snubbed Connor Bedard is gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a problem for a lot of teams. He got his 25th of the year. We have 23 games left. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if he got 40 goals this year. In fact, I'm gonna go out and officially predict Connor Bedard's going to score 40 this year. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I feel it in my gut he's going to get 40. He's been an absolute menace. He was all over it tonight. He was robbed a couple times. He was single-handedly creating grade A chances from nothing. He hit a post. Obviously, the goal was just unbelievable. He was fast. Um, he was chippy tonight. I loved what I saw from Connor Bedard, and he's going to be an absolute menace for the rest of the year. I just know it, and I really do believe he's going to flirt with 40 goals this year. And if you can get Connor Bedard scoring 40 goals despite missing a month, you know that 50 is probably in his future, which I think none of us would be surprised by. Um, yeah, so Hawks come out of the first period up by 1. They are heavily outshot in that period. They're outshot again as the second goes on, and I thought they did well at holding down the fort. Spencer Knight was having a really good game. He wasn't giving up any rebounds. He was making some pretty impressive saves. And I thought the Hawks were doing a good job of keeping Colorado wide and not really giving them any grade A opportunities. And that showed too, that reflected in Colorado's game because they were getting a little too fancy. They were making the extra passes. They weren't just throwing the puck on net. And I think it's because they knew Spencer Knight was on it tonight. He wasn't giving up any rebounds. And if they were going to get one by him, they had to earn it. And so they were I think doing a little too much, but they ended up getting one at the end of the second period. It technically wasn't a power play goal, um, but it came kind of on the man advantage. The power play just ended. Cale Makar sees more coming out of the box, so he pinches. McKinnon with a beautiful pass to find Makar, and he kind of one-timed it on his offhand side, and beat Spencer Knight clean and tied it up. And that's a ball breaker of a goal with under a minute to go in the period. Um, so yeah, you go into the third tie game, and I remember saying in the stream, like, um, it doesn't matter what happened in the first 40. The message in the locker room has got to be there's 20 minutes left and it's a 1-1 game. Who cares what the shots are? And I think that's what the message was in the locker room because the Hawks came out flying. They were hard on the puck. They were forechecking. They were creating opportunity. They were shooting and they were getting shots on goal um, in the third period. Um, Unfortunately, they just couldn't beat Blackwood. And with the firepower that the Avs have up front, um, it just they couldn't do it. But I'm happy with the way they played um, against the Avs. I mean, yeah, they were shelled for a lot of it, but they weren't giving up prime opportunities. It was a lot of just kind of throwing the puck on net for the Avs at the start when they got most of their shots. So overall, I'm fairly happy with the way the Hawks played. And one guy that really stood out to me, and I have the jersey up. By the way, if you like this jersey, it's an Artie Party jersey. This is on the Rinkside General. If I'm sure you've heard of him, it's on his store. He made this jersey. It's awesome. He's got one that says generational with 98 on it. It's awesome. He's got a lot of cool stuff over there. So if you like this, be sure to go check that out. But Artem Levshinov had a really good night. He was breaking up 2-on-1s. He was making great breakout passes. He had an eye offensively. He was physical. At one point, he ran over Landeskog. He was just had a really, really good night. There wasn't really any point tonight where I thought, what is this guy doing? He's lost out there. We see that a lot, but tonight, I thought he had a really, really good game, and I thought he deserved a point. He deserved to get on the board. He didn't, unfortunately, but I thought he had a really good game. He was all over it tonight. He was playing with confidence, which I think is a big thing for him. And I think he had a really good game. And I'm hoping that's something he can continue forward because he's had times this year. I think you look back at December. He played a stretch of really, really good hockey where he was taking over games a lot. And I'm hoping this is kind of building toward that again. So a really good night from Artem Levshinov. Um, a player I want to talk about is Kevin Korchinski. Um, so he got to play tonight. Um, he was on the third pair with Murphy. He got no power play time, which is something I'm a little disappointed in. Um, I understand Grizzlick on the second unit because he's safe. He knows what he's doing, but why do we have to have the safe option? Kevin Korchinski is an offensive defenseman trying to find his way in the NHL. I know he hasn't by any means earned any opportunity, but he's here. Give him the opportunity. I made a video on it like a week ago or so, maybe 5 days ago, on why Kevin Korchinski should be playing every game for the rest of this season. Um, but you got to put him in a position to succeed um, because the offensive side of the puck isn't an issue with him. So put him in a position where he can thrive and he can be effective. He can build that confidence. He can get comfortable in the NHL. He can get acclimated, and you can really see what you have in him because we haven't seen him play a stretch of more than 9 games since his rookie season, the 23-24 season. So the no power play time really annoyed me, and he only got 8:24. He only played 8 minutes 24 seconds. That was, I believe, the second lowest of any Hawk tonight. Let me just double check that. Yeah, the lowest was Colton Dach at 7:56, and then you have Korchinski at 8:24. Um, and one thing I will say in an argument he deserves more ice time was in that 8:24 he had 3 giveaways and one of them was in the defensive zone. So again, like I said, he's not really earning these chances, but I think it's gotten to the point now where you have to just give him the runway and give him a good stretch of hockey where he can earn that spot. And here's the thing: like if you play him the last 23 games of the year, whether he's terrible or great or somewhere in the middle, you'll have a much better idea of what you have. Because right now, it's just question marks around Kevin Korchinski at the NHL level. It's just, what do we have? We don't know. What we've seen hasn't been great, but we haven't seen that much. So to me, you got to play him. So I was disappointed in his ice time tonight, but I was also disappointed with what he did with the ice time. I think, to me, his confidence has got to be shot, and you got to put him on the power play. That's my Kevin Korchinski rant. Another guy that was a hot topic tonight in the live stream was Frank Nazar. And Frank Nazar hasn't been Frank Nazar for a while. I don't know if it still has something to do with coming off injury. I doubt it, because we just had 3.5 weeks off, and before that he played for a while. So I don't think it's that. To me, it's got to be a confidence thing. To me, it's two things. One, this is a guy that is an extremely confident Showtime kind of player. That's the perfect way to put it. He's a Showtime kind of guy. And so for him, confidence is big. And when he's not confident, I think it really hurts his game. And there's no way he's confident right now. He's really struggling out there to put up numbers. And to me, he's doing the small things right. And I'm hoping things maybe start to go his way. Um, but I got a lot of questions in the chat tonight when do we panic here? And to me, we don't panic until he's making $6.5 million, because right now he's still a guy who's on his entry level contract, who's 21 years old, who hasn't played a full season, and is going to go through ups and downs finding his way in the NHL. That's what the entry level contract is for. There's a reason you can't pay a guy $10 million his first year in the league. And so when we get to next season, and if we get to, November, December, and he's still playing this way and he's making $6.5 million, then I'm open to a conversation of, okay, what's going on here? What's the problem? What's the solution? Should we be panicking? But right now, see what he can do in the final stretch of the year. We saw it last year. Him, Bedard, and Knight played really, really good in the final stretch of the season, and it carried over to the beginning of this season. And I want to afford him the same opportunity to finish the season strong and to carry it into next year. Because next year, when he's making $6.5 million, he's no longer a rookie. He's no longer a young guy with promise. He's a guy who will be making $6.5 million. He's going to be paid that money to produce. And if he's not doing it, we have an issue. So right now, I'm not panicked. I'm not worried. I'm not freaking out about Frank Nazar. I'm mad at him for not producing. But when he's making $6.5 million, I expect him to play like a guy who's making $6.5 million. You've got to earn that $6.5 million. So that's my stance on Nazar and Korchinski. We have one question from Twitter. After every game, I take to Twitter and I ask if anybody has any post game questions. We have one today from Sash. It's not a question, more so a statement. Last goal not scored by Bedard or Burakovsky is 185 minutes ago. Donato versus the Sharks. I'm not gonna fact check it. I'm gonna take your word for it. But if that's true, that's crazy, man. And it just shows that depth scoring has been an issue, and it's not just your top guns like Nazar, and Levshinov, the kind, maybe not the top guns, but the guys you expect the most production out of that aren't firing. It's everybody. So you can't just blame, Bedard, Nazar, Renzel, Levshinov for the team not winning. It's everybody. We're not getting depth scoring here. Um, so yeah, apparently according to Sash, I'll take your word for it. Last goal not scored by Bedard or Bertuzzi was 185 minutes ago. Donato versus the Sharks. I remember that goal, and I think you're right. So yeah, it's a weird time as a Hawks fan. There's two different sides of it online right now. There's the people who are like, burn it down, KD is a disaster, and there's the people who are patient. I'm on the patient side of it. But like I said, when Frank Nazar is making 6.5, and when Bedard is making whatever Bedard's going to make next year, that's when you got to really hold them accountable, and there's no excuse. So not that I'm worried about Bedard. Like I said at the beginning of the video, he's absolutely unbelievable. He's everything we thought he was going to be. So yeah, that's it for this one. I'll be live for the Utah game tomorrow. I'll be back with another post game tomorrow. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments below about this game. That is all from me. I'll see you tomorrow against Utah. It's in! Bedard! Let's go! Connor Bedard! 1-0. Fuck yeah. Go Mikheyev. Mikheyev's got a lane. Oh, what a shot! Ilya Mikheyev. Let's go. Man, he is so good. If they let him go or if they trade him, I'm going to be... They got to re-sign this guy. What a shot. And a good play. Was that Dickinson that flipped it out to him? All right, 2-on-1 maybe. Nazar, Bedard. Bedard stops up. He's got so much room, and he scores. What a shot from Connor Bedard. My word. That was beautiful. Too bad it doesn't matter. That was such a nice shot. That stop-up toe drag, he loves it. Bang.